Hey guys, I'm back with another review. And again, this is going to be a quick review. I'm not going to say too much because, if you saw my last videos, I talked about this. I think it was the last one I did. I mentioned this, that I had to actually use this to connect to my computer and my digital amplifier because my DAC adapter, the USB port in my DAC was broken. So I actually use this, and it's not really much to say about it. So again, it's going to be a quick review, just basic stuff that you need to know. So anyway, this is the Ugreen 2-channel stereo sound card, and that's what it's listed as a stereo sound card. And this is not a DAC. Don't get this confused. Even though most sound cards are DACs, this is just not a DAC because there's no digital inputs or outputs on it. As you can see, there are no, I should say outputs, there are no digital outputs on it. So how this works is basically, well, first I'm gonna start with the price. I got this online a few years ago, and I think I paid like $7 for it, but at that time it sold for around $14 to $15. And the brand of this is Ugreen. And if you know about Ugreen, you see them online on Amazon or eBay, and they make just basic quality sound cards and cables. And I also think that, yes, they also make Bluetooth adapters. So basically, if you have a digital amplifier, something like this, and this doesn't have Bluetooth. It has everything else but Bluetooth. So if you want to convert this into a Bluetooth device, you would just buy one of their adapters. And I know the old adapters have the analog inputs like this, the RCA jacks. And that's what I would prefer getting. I would tell anybody, if you are going to buy one of these sound cards or a DAC made by Ugreen, definitely get the one that has interconnect cables or the RCA connectors on it, because you could get better sound from it, because you could use a high quality pair of interconnect cables. But anyway, yeah, this is a sound card, and again, it's just your basic sound card, nothing special about it. And of course, there's a chip inside of it, and that's the whole thing, is basically the sound quality of this. For $15, you're not going to really be getting much. Well, if you really want a sound card that sounds really good, you have to spend a lot more money, maybe around $40 or $50. But what this is really good for is that it's cheap, for one, and they make smaller ones for like, $7 or $8. They're a lot smaller than this. But again, you get the full jacks, and you also get a mic input right here and a headphone input as well. So you can connect your headphones to this and a microphone to this. So this is really nice. Let's see, I'm trying to think, is there anything else about it? It's very light. It feels like it's nothing in it. It's really light. But still, the build quality it's okay. It still feels, the casing feels solid, but it feels like it's nothing inside of it. But it is a chip inside of it. But yeah, and the cable, it's pretty, it's good quality. It's pretty thick. And it doesn't really feel flimsy, like it's going to break or tear, so that's good. And one thing I tell you about this is really reliable. I have used this, like I said, I had this for 3 years. So when I first got it, I used it a couple of times. And I used it on different laptops, so it works with any laptop that you, going to use it with. And again, this is a plug and play device, so there's no software required to download or to install. You just, turn your laptop on, plug it into a USB port on your laptop, and it will automatically recognize the device. But I must warn you, if you are going to use this, for the first time, when you use this for the first time, actually, the default setting for the volume is set to loud. So basically what that means is that when you plug this up to your computer, even if the volume of your computer is set low, it will put the volume on max. So this is why I tell everybody, if this is your first time using this, make sure you are not wearing headphones, because as soon as you hook it up, it's going to and play a video, it's going to automatically set your volume to max, and it's going to be really loud, and it could damage your ears, you know. So I just want y'all to know that, you know, make sure you have your headphones off, and make sure you play the video first. And this is how it works, because when you plug it in, and once it sets up and go, the volume won't change until you play an audio track or a video track. So you won't even know that the volume is turned all the way up to max. So if you have headphones on and you start to play a video for the first time to hear how this sounds, it's just going to blast your ears because it's set at maximum value and it is loud. So that's why I recommend, you know, before you listen to this, make sure you have your speakers off or your headphones off, because it's just going to blast it really loud. And then after that, after you turn the volume down, it stays like that. You know, you could, once you unplug it and plug it back up, it stays at the volume, whatever your computer is set at. But first time users, yeah, you'll get maximum sound from this, maximum volume. So just be careful with that. And like I said, you know, it's reliable. I used it. I haven't had any trouble with it. But one thing I do want to talk about is the sound quality. I think that's the most important thing about this, you know. Again, this is just very basic. You know, if your sound card in your laptop is not working, or if it's broke or whatever reason, this is, you know, really good to have. You can use this instead. But the sound quality is just really, I don't know. It's hard to say. I wouldn't say it's pretty average, but you know, everything sounds clear and it's detailed. But it's like they focus on the mid. So if you're someone who likes listening to music, you know, that has a lot of bass, a lot of treble, but the mid range is kind of muted, this is not the sound card for you. Because basically the treble, I mean not the treble, but the mid range is elevated. It's really pushed up there pretty high. It's high where it makes the bass sound not as loud or not as deep, because the mid ranges are pushed so high up. So you will get a lot of mid-range, so you will hear more things that you usually wouldn't hear. You could hear them, but it would bring it out more. Like, for example, if you know, watch a lot of dance choreographs, and that's what I do. I watch a lot of dancing choreographs. And, you know, in the background, you could hear the people in the back, you know, screaming or yelling or whatever. And when you use this sound card, it really brings that out. So if you like hearing that, you know, of course it brings out the music, you know, pretty well. But you would just hear the crowd more than you would hear the music. You know, you could really hear the voices in the background, because it focuses mainly on the mid range. But again, it's pretty average. But this does have distortion, just like any amp this price or this size. If you know, play this really loud, you could basically hear a bit of distortion. But if you play it at low levels, you know, either with headphones or even on speakers, you won't hear it that much. And this is what I said in the last video. You know, I was kind of surprised by the sound quality, because I hooked it up to my other laptop. And I'm trying to think. I actually, I tried this with speakers and with headphones. And I fully tested it with headphones, as I said. It just has a really big mid-range boost. But for loudspeakers, it's kind of interesting, because the whole point, you know, of using this, you know, if your sound card works in your laptop, the whole point of using this is to basically bypass the sound card that's in your laptop. Because most sound cards in laptops are just very basic or mediocre. They're not high quality or high end in any way. They just use the cheapest parts, you know, for sound. Because most people who buy laptops, you know, they think that most people that buy laptops, they're not going to, you know, really use them for music or anything. They just going to use them for just the bare minimum. So they just put the cheapest parts in there. So this would be another reason to buy one of these, so you could bypass that. But after listening to it, you know, just using this only, you know, I don't know to say that some of the sound cards in the PCs are better than this, because it depends on the laptop. Like I use the HP, and compared to this, the HP sound card doesn't sound that bad when you compare it to this. This, like I say, this sounds okay, but it's just, I think, a little bit too much in the mid-range focus, you know. But what's interesting is that you could actually, when you connect this to your computer, your laptop. You can actually bypass it, as I said, bypass the sound card in your laptop like this, and then you could take the sound from this sound card and then put it into, let's say, an amplifier. So basically, and this is what I did in the last video, I connected this to my digital amp right here, my T amp. It sounded much different, and it really sounded different from using headphones. It seems like the volume is reduced, and you know, basically that's what it is. I'll give you an example. You know, when I was just using this amplifier and the DAC that was in it, I usually set my volume up to 20. So I'll turn this on real quick, see if it's on. There we go. Okay, there's 20. So this is what this is my normal listening level. It's not too low, it's not too high. It plays at a moderate level, right? And this is just using a built-in DAC. So if I were to use a sound card like this and use the analog inputs and outputs, such as, let's see if I have a cable right here. If I use this cable, for example, I will have to increase my volume because the volume reduces when you use the analog inputs. So instead of using, you know, 20, I would have to go up to around like this, 27 or even 30 to get the same volume that I had when I was using the DAC that was in here. So that's basically the difference between using using analog and digital. You know, digital gives you that direct signal and it converts the signal as well. When you use the analog inputs, such as these cables and the auxiliary input that is in this amplifier, the signal is reduced down. But when you use a DAC, you know, it gives you, you know, the correct signal. It converts it and it gives you the right signal response. So yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, I definitely, I want to clear this up. Yeah, I definitely got a different sound using the sound card with this amplifier. And that's the thing is, you know, you can actually buy different sound cards or even different DACs and hook it up to this, and you get a totally different sound. Maybe if you want to improve the sound of this amplifier because maybe it doesn't sound quite right, or you just want to improve the sound quality, you could just buy one of these, buy a more expensive sound card or more expensive DAC, such as the Firefly. That's a really good DAC that has audiophile sound quality, and a lot of users like to use that. And you can hook that up even to this amplifier and get very good audio quality. So you could really, you know, play around with this amplifier by just buying different DACs and sound cards until you find one that you like, because these are really inexpensive. You pay anywhere from $8 to $15. Then if you want a real, you know, expensive one, you can spend $50 or maybe even $100 and get a really nice one. And you know, you will really improve the sound of this amplifier, because the signal, basically when you hook it up to this amp, as I said before, it runs from this sound card into this amplifier. So it's a lot of, you know, different things that you can do. So I think that's about it. You know, I hope I gave a good review. I tried to you know, talk about everything about this sound card. It's not really much to say about it, because, you know, it's just your basic average sound card, but I just really wanted to talk about the sound quality because I think that's what's really important. And again, for the price, it gives decent sound. It's reliable, and you know, you can find these online very cheap. And definitely, you know, if your sound card in your laptop is not working, or if your DAC in your amplifier is not working, I would definitely recommend getting something like this. Again, just for a temporary fix, you know, nothing permanent, but just a temporary fix to get your stuff, you know, going again. So I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I know I kind of made it longer than what I said it was going to be, but I just wanted to get everything in. So I hope I answered everything and gave you a complete, you know, full detail on how this thing sounds and how it performs. So thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.